Hi y'all, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to yet another more talky video. I feel like that's kind of the direction my channel is going, where it's like beauty commentary, not necessarily commentating on the community, but commentating on makeup, with the occasional review and doing all that kind of stuff. But today we are going to be talking about makeup that I wanted to buy that I didn't. This isn't a makeup like I'm all like, oh, I wish I'd bought it, or any sort of like, y'all, I'm glad I didn't buy it. This is just going back, looking at things that had piqued my interest and, that I didn't buy for one reason or another, as I say. It's sort of fun to kind of look back on what your expectations and desires and whatevers were, like some of this stuff I'm like, why did I want that shiz? Because new and improved Soraya would not get a lot of use out of this stuff, so I like to kind of take a little, we go back into the Wayback Machine and sort of take a look at, what I was thinking, 2 months ago or 2 years ago. Obviously, if this is something that you have and you love, do let us know down in the comments below. I love hearing y'all's thoughts and opinions on makeup that I talk about, because I like having a discussion. We don't all have the same whatevers when it comes to makeup. Got my cute little list right here. I will preface this with saying there are a lot of highlighters on here, because I feel like basically if it's a highlighter that gets released, just because of the fact that it's a highlighter, there's a little bit of me that just wants it on the fact that it's a highlighter. So there are a lot of highlighters from a plethora of different brands. Starting off with, and this is kind of what started this whole thing, I was watching a highlighter declutter and someone pulled out the Anastasia Beverly Hills loose highlighters, which those came out pretty recently. I think it was last year or maybe the year before last. I'm not entirely sure, as the whole makeup release whateverness kind of melds together, and to a certain degree you lose a sense of time. Things will be released last week that I'm like, wasn't that last year? But y'all know your girl loves highlighters. Your girl has a fairly good relationship with Anastasia Beverly Hills. Your girl likes loose highlighters. But also, kind of in the same vein, I have highlighters, loose highlighters from Wet n Wild. I have loose highlighters from NYX that are absolutely fan-tucking-fastic. So, while these looked all kinds of pretty, and Anastasia has pretty accurately, consistently made highlighter formulas that I'm a fan of, I'm like, I have these ones that are affordable. I ain't ever gonna be running out of them, so I didn't feel especially compelled to purchase them. I mean, yeah, they were all kinds of shimmy shiny and they had beautiful, amazing packaging. And then also, the shades they released were kind of like, yeah, they had So Hollywood, which is a gold. I'm sure I have a gold loose highlighter from Wet n Wild. It looked, from people swatching and stuff like that, it looked a titchy bit too deep for my personal pasty complexion. I wasn't about to spend that much money on a highlighter that I would only be able to wear, a few months out of the year. And then they had that really pink one. Y'all know that I'm kind of living for the highlighter that like blends into my skin rather than looks like, pink or, bronze or whatever. I want something that enhances my complexion. And then they had that really icy one that I was just like, I ain't gonna get use out of that. And then people are like, well, you can mix them together. And I'm like, I ain't got time for that shit. They messy enough as it is. So the Anastasia Beverly Hills loose highlighters were something that, I initially wanted. It was Anastasia. It was, it was a highlighter. It had all sorts of things going for it. And I just didn't. And I'm probably really happy that I didn't. Something that's fairly recent that I wanted for reasons that did not justify me spending my money on it, but the Norvina Cake something something, those trios of neon water activated liners. Now, deep down inside, there is a crazy, creative, alternative person that looked at those and was like, you know, I could do all kinds of shiz with that stuff. You know, I could do all kinds of graphic whatevers, get all edgy and editorial. But I anti-hauled these, and sort of in the same whatever of me anti-hauling them, it would be wasted money, because I already have a drawer that's got the Makeup Forever Flash Color Case palette. I've got a couple different cream whatevers from Wet n Wild, from other brands, that are in that drawer for the reason, should the mood or occasion strike, that I need to get all kinds of editorial. And spoiler alert, that mood doesn't strike very often. So it would be just sort of adding more to a part of my collection that I already don't use a lot. And I know it was super tempting when you're going on Instagram and stuff and you're seeing videos of people using this shiz and it's so bright and beautiful and fun and you want to get your artistic whatevers going. But I mean, I would get them and I'd get my artistic whatevers going and then I'd go back to the same old, same old. It just isn't worth it to spend $60 on something that's just not gonna get used. Maybe if they sold them as singles, I'd get like the neon green, because doing a neon green eyeliner over a purple eye, or doing that purple liner over a green eye, had they been like 20 bucks in singles, I probably would have bought those too. But kind of like everything on this list, I'm glad that I didn't, because, you know, there's a reason why deep down I didn't buy these when I wanted them. Okay, this is something that I really wanted. I feel more for the collector in me, for the obsessive whateverness of me, for wanting to be a part of the cool kids club who had these. But those beautifully curated, those beautiful packaging, circular Tarte holiday blush palette things. The ones where you opened them up and you had the blushes on both sides, those, oh my goodness. They released it one year and everybody lost their minds. I'm not entirely sure why I didn't buy it. Probably because I was a little bit more self-aware than I thought, which is a good thing. And I probably realized that Tarte doesn't have one of my end-all be-all blush formulas. And y'all know I don't use my face palettes as it is. But every time they release one of these, they did 2 circular ones. Then I think last year or the year before, they did that really cute notebook themed one. You know, it was tempting. And you know, there's the part of me that's all like, I like blush. I like a blush palette. These were really, really raved about. People loved them. People talked about, like, I'm gonna get them every year. And the people that didn't get them were like, oh, I wish I got that. You know, so it had a lot backing it to enforce kind of my internal need to want to buy this. But for whatever reason, I didn't. Y'all would have seen in my face palette declutter, I decluttered both of my Tarte palettes. So no idea if I would have kept those other ones if I had them now, but I think it's better to have not bought them than to find out that I would have decluttered them in the 2020 declutter. Next up is something that is less of like, some things you feel real passionate. Sometimes it's just kind of like a passing desire, you know? You want to be a part because you hear people talking about this and they're like, oh, they love it. It's amazing. It's going to change my face. And I was reminded, because I was, for a little pick-me-up, I was watching Teresa Is Dead's her highlighter collection video. If y'all want some like swatch porn, go watch that shiz, because every time she swatched, I was just like, I need that. And she talked about the Dior, they're their backstage face palettes. Now, Dior is not a cruelty-free brand. If it was, I would own those friggin' single highlighters that everybody loves. And this face palette, when she swatched that shiz, I was just reminded of all that internal dialogue that I was like, I wish I could have that, because it looks so pretty. Both of them. They came out with the one and I was like, I would like to have that. And then they came out with the second one and I kind of had second verse same as the first. I was like, I want that. And honestly, the only thing keeping me from purchasing it was the fact that it's not cruelty free. And I think it was really, really pricey. But I've purchased really pricey stuff before. And so that was definitely something. There's something about just the whole presentation of it. Dior is one of those higher end, more luxury brands that I feel represents itself really good. They've got really beautiful, high quality packaging. Their product seems to be really on par and good quality compared to like, Givenchy and other like high-end luxury whatevers that are like, let's just I feel like Dior has a lot more going for it than some of these other ones. They seem pretty solid, and just the packaging and the arrangement and the colors. It's a face palette that I don't need. Just so many different things that went into me being like, I would like to have that. I think that would make me a little bit happy inside. So if Dior were to ever suddenly decide that it wanted to go the cruelty-free route, I would probably go out and buy the face palettes as well as those highlighters, because that pretty. Another highlighter that was released, I'm pretty sure I anti-hauled this. Urban Decay, a brand that used to hold my hand in my heart. I loved it. I grew up with this brand. I don't buy from it hardly at all anymore today, but when they released that like random, there was a while there where Urban Decay was just like kind of pulling a two-face. It was like, here's this random product. Here's this random product. Oh, look at this random thing. One of which being the disco kitten, disco something. Those purpley highlighters that they released. You had like a powder one and then they had like a cream stick one. Y'all know I'm a sucker for highlighter. We kind of prefaced this video with saying that. Y'all know I am a sucker for purchasing colorful highlighters that I will not wear. I also purchase colorful highlighters that I will wear, but there is the purchasing the colorful highlighters that just ain't going to get used because either they got too much back pigment in them or what. But seeing, like the packaging and the aesthetic, it's a highlighter. At this point, I am desperately trying to cling on to some hope that Urban Decay is not going to become a obsolete artifact within the beauty community. I really wanted to buy it. Glad that I didn't, because I'm heard that it wasn't the best. It did have a lot of purple back pigment, whereas if I'm going to be wearing like a blue, a green, a pink, a purple, that kind of highlighter, I want something that has a hint, a subtle touch of said color, rather than it being purple across my cheeks. I don't mind looking dead. I'm totally okay with that aesthetic, but I don't want to look like it with a purple metallic streak coming down my whatevers. And I was even considering buying the cream, even though y'all know your girl, especially stick products. Like, give me a cream in a pot and maybe, but a stick cream is no bueno. But this is definitely something that pulled at like my inner alternative edgy whatever heartstrings. Super glad I didn't let myself get suckered in, but it was definitely a thing for a little bit. This is something that I have still battled with today. The Natasha De Nona Sephora All Matte Palette, which, as of filming this, is currently on sale for like $65. I haven't bought it. I really wanted it because I love all mattes. Y'all know your girl is an all matte lover. And so to have this all matte palette and then to have it be in these really nice, kind of cool, neutral, grungy, whatever shades, also while being on the hunt for a Natasha De Nona formula, eyeshadow formula that I love. When it first came out, I anti-hauled it because, it's $129. That's a lot of money for a palette considering, compared to like the Viseart Pro 3 that I have. If you think about all the mattes you get in that, or like all the mattes you get in like a Norvina Pro palette, there's just, the price breakdown just isn't as good. And also, now that it's like on sale, and I'm like, well, it's a much more viable price. Although there is a part of me that's like, why is it on sale? Is it like secretly bad and they've got too much stock and they need to like push this shiz? Because that always worries me. Sometimes when things go on sale, I'm like, yes, shut up and take my money. And sometimes I'm just like, why? Why are you on sale? You look a little suspect there. But I'm like, I've got ColourPop, those neutrals are some of my absolute favorites. I got Melt Cosmetics, I've got neutrals that I love. I'm like, I don't need to be spending $65 on a neutral palette when I'm 9 times out of 10 sure that I'm gonna have. I already have ones that I use and I love. So this one has been a constant struggle from when it came out to like now it being like affordable in comparison to what she typically charges. But you are a little concerned because you don't see Sephora putting like the Lila palette or the Sunset palette on sale for $65. So I do still sometimes wonder why things go on sale and other things don't. Another highlighter, surprise, surprise. This is also another could not purchase because not cruelty free. But when Benefit released the Cookie and Tickle single highlighters, it took everything within me to not break the cruelty-free thing, because if you know, you know that there has been nothing but good, amazing, and wonderful things said about these highlighters. When Teresa's dead, once again, watching that video, and she swatched it, and I was like, I wish so hard that I could buy those. You know, when they released, I was like, so many of y'all were like, this is the best highlighter that ever existed. You would love it so stinking much. I'm just over here like, I know I would, but I can't. I'm trying to be really good. I mean, I already buy the Physicians Formula Foundation and that's not cruelty free. And so I'm just like, they're just so beautiful and so hyped and so raved and so just Whenever I cannot buy a highlighter that has fantastic reviews and is something that everybody loves, I get a little sad inside. Okay, something that was sort of I think I anti-hauled it. This is one of those things where you have to anti-haul it to convince yourself that you don't actually want it. You know, you want to be like, this thing is stupid, I don't want it. When in reality, you're like, I totally admit that it's stupid, but I still really, 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 really want it. And that is the Sephora X Moschino. Everybody always tells me in the comments, and then when it comes around to saying their name again, I forget. But the original run with that big, giganteous teddy bear eyeshadow palette. I mean, I wanted that deep down so bad. Like, it was just, I love Moschino, their clothing aesthetic. If I could blow a lot of money on a whatever the frig category clothing they are, it would probably be them and Vivienne Westwood. They just create such unique, quirky designs, and this teddy bear thing was kind of procking on that, and it was all kinds of just, I would have it in my background, and when it looked all, I probably would have kept it in the box, because the box was all like this little, it looked like a toy. I just, y'all know, I love other things that look like other things, and I love displaying things that, you know, it was much less the eyeshadow, like the shade range, or the fact that I thought the eyeshadows were going to be good. It was definitely fueled by my desire, just the aesthetic, which I am learning to not purchase makeup based on aesthetic only. It needs to be backed up by quality. It needs to be backed up on it enhancing my makeup experience and doing this. But yeah, deep down, your girl really, 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 really wanted that shiz, but it was sold out, just. This is something that is sort of definitely something that I'm trying to break myself out of. This is part of the whole completionist in me. Y'all know when it comes to things that have themes or highlighter ranges or blush ranges, I like to have everything. And it's actually not just in makeup. Like, for example, I'm trying to collect all of these. I've got my like S figures over here that I'm trying to get all of them. You know, I like having one big unit family. And so when Lime Crime started releasing all kinds of different versions of their original Venus palettes, you know, the 3 I think was all kinds of rosy, and then they did the black one, the black and gray one. Then they had those beautiful Prelude. Oh my goodness, it took me a lot. It was mainly the price point. If those things had been like $25 each, I would have bought that shiz and reviewed it. But the fact that they sit at a $38 price point for 8 eyeshadows, I just couldn't really justify it. But there's a part of me that just wants to have, I love the Venus aesthetic. I mean, I love, see, this is it. I was an art history student. I absolutely loved it. You know, you take art and history and put them together and I'm like, yes. And so when you have a makeup brand that's palette is based around the imagery of, you know, the birth of Venus, it's just all kinds of amazing. And so there's just, you know, color story aside, you know, I wish they dropped that price point even to like 30, because I feel like in today's market, $38 for 8 shadows just isn't quite cutting it like it used to. But there was a part of the completionist in me that just really, it's kind of like Pokemon. It's like you gotta catch them all, gotta collect them all and hoard them because they're together, like the Naked and the chocolate bars. I've broken myself of that. You would have seen in my declutter. I was like, goodbye chocolate bars, goodbye Urban Decay Naked palettes, goodbye Tartlet. But aesthetically and whatever, there was a part of me that was just like, and I may in 2021, if I see some really good reviews on that Prelude collection with that beautiful ethereal sort of grungy aesthetic, I may buy those. If you have them, and you know, let me know how they are down below, because the everything about that was just so beautiful. Okay, something else that I really anti-hauled it. Kylie Jenner, Kylie Cosmetics. Most of you know I am a recent convert to her highlighters and her blushes. I think they are hideously underrated formulas. Very beginner friendly and just it's just a good formula. But before that, I tend to kind of I take object to a lot of Kylie Jenner stuff. But it was not last year, I believe the year before last year, that she was like, you know what? I am going to release a Halloween collection. Y'all could not tell by the present aesthetic, ya girl loves spooky time. It hits September and I am ready to go. I mean, spooky time is all year round for me. But when you get into the actual October is when I thrive. And so to have makeup that has a holiday theme that's not Christmas, I really wanted that. And it looked actually kind of nice, thought out, and put together well. I was like, that's great, that was wonderful. But unfortunately, I don't think she was selling the items individually. The bundle was pretty pricey. And I was just not willing to put that much money into Kylie Cosmetics for a Halloween theme. I wish that more brands would jump on this idea, because there is such an untapped market for all of us spooky loving people who would adore Halloween themed makeup. I mean, Too Faced could rock that shit. Urban Decay could rock it. You know, if Kylie Cosmetics can rock a Halloween theme, I feel like any brand can. But that is something I let go by the wayside. Sorely tempted, very tempted, super really wanted it. Then last but not least in this video, I do have enough to do another one. If you would like to see a continuation of this series on my channel, let me know down below, along with something that you wanted to purchase that you didn't for one reason or another. But the Hourglass Holiday Ambient Lighting Palettes. Hourglass is a brand that has some products that I love. Well, blush. I'm wearing one of them on my cheekies today, and so when you take face products and you put them into a face palette, I don't know how many times I can say it, I love buying face palettes I don't need, that I'm not gonna use. The temptation, and also the fact that these palettes are so raved about. Like, there are people who are hardcore, I'ma buy these every blinking year, they're my end all be all, I love these, I will be buried with them. You know, it gets you kind of thinking, well maybe I need to like that thing. I was very tempted. I think it was last year holiday that they came out with the whole ghost whatever, and they had a 4-pan. Their big ones, their 6-pan ones are $80, and then I think this blush palette was like $60, but it had like 4 blushes. I love their blushes. It looked all kinds of pretty, but as we all know, your girl don't need another face palette. Your girl don't need another $80 face palette. But I will admit, every year when they come around, there's a small part of me that's all like, this is gonna be the year that I decide to blow nearly $100 on an overpriced, fancy, bougie face palette. But thankfully, also every year, I tend to remind myself, you got face palettes in your collection, some that are bougie that you do not use. Do not continue to perpetuate this need to buy face palettes that you don't need and you're not gonna use. That has been my only saving grace every year when these are teased, because they did that one with the slight pink whatever and it had the bunny on it and proceeds to the, that one. I was close on that one. It looked all kinds of pretty and soft and glowy. But I do know for the hourglass price, I would like to get a little more bang in the color department and just in, cha-cha-cha. Then I know I'm going to get. They are a very subtle, soft, glowing, healthy company. But deep down, a part of me would like to jump on that hourglass bandwagon. But I'm pretty happy that I haven't, because $80 is a lot of money. All right, that is all I have this time for y'all. Like I said, definitely let me know if you would like to see this sort of thing continue going on. I had a lot of fun doing it. I just like doing videos that focus around, I've said this I don't know how many times, but I really like doing videos that are like self-psychoanalyzation about my makeup consumer habits and just my habits around makeup. So if you would like to see this, definitely let me know. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and as always, keep it real. Mwah!